Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is City of Detroit Ombudsman. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence with Just Dance. Today's show, ladies and gentlemen, is the City of Detroit Ombudsman. Now, you know, we normally do a segment called What Does Your City Officials or Government Officials Do? But today we're seeing the Ombudsman from the City of Detroit. So I'd like to introduce our guests, Executive Director Bruce Simpson and Deputy Ombudsman Gail Bernard. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
All right, now you know this is unique because we do have phone calls coming from people saying they need some information and resources, and somebody said, do we have an ombudsman? I said, of course we do. So Bruce Simpson, can we start off a little bit about yourself and what is an ombudsman?
Sure. So I've been in government for quite a while, since 2003. The Ombudsman's office since 2007. And then after 8.5 years of being an assistant ombudsman, I became the ombudsman in 2015. What do we do? The ombudsman is an independent oversight agency, meaning we don't belong to the executive or legislative branch. So i.e. our city council, our mayor, we are truly independent. Once that ombudsman receives that appointment, they are off and running and independent. That independence gives them the ability to advocate for citizens without fear of retribution. We have oversight over every city agency and or authority. Anything that relates to city services, anything that your taxpayer dollars pays for, we have oversight over.
Okay, sounds wonderful. So Deputy Director, or should I say Deputy Ombudsman, Gail Bernard, what does your role entail?
So I make sure that the office is being ran efficiently, and I do that by managing the staff, and I'm also a liaison between our office and all the city departments. So I come in and I try to make sure that all of our complaints are being addressed in a timely manner and closed in a timely manner. Last year we took over, well, almost 4,000 complaints, and we got a pretty good resolution on those complaints. About 85%. Of course, I'm always looking to get better at that resolution.
Okay, so what are some of the services that you guys provide?
Again, every service that the city provides, if the city is negligent in providing that service to you, or they have not resolved the issue, that's when you call us in. So we're like escalation. You know, when you call a company and you talk to someone, a customer service rep, and they're just not getting it done.
That's right.
You say, I need to escalate this matter, and you want to talk to the manager. Well, in this example, we're the manager. We are the people that you escalate that call to. So we don't look to be the first call, but if it's a matter that others have not been able to resolve, that's when we step in and intervene.
Okay, so the residents in the city normally, you know, I have a complaint about housing issues, neighbors dumping trash, things like that. Do you guys address those types?
Absolutely, we sure do. We have a lot of illegal dumping, homes that need boarded up, flooded streets, trees that need to be trimmed. You name it, we take the complaint. And if we cannot take the complaint, if it is out of our jurisdiction, we always try to find out who can take that complaint. So you will never walk away from our office not knowing where to go.
That's important. So we don't have to call Help Me Hank.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, you do not. We don't, look, as Gail said, we don't turn people away. Even if it's not within our purview, we'll get you with the right resource.
Okay, okay. Because ideally, you know, we get calls at our 800 number, and people are asking us questions about who do we go to.
Yeah.
So we have like residents who've been living in their home, elderly residents who've been living in their home for years.
Right.
New tenant comes in and puts a fence up and says, you know what, well, this is my property line. You know, and that elderly resident doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to argue. They just want to know who can come in and, you know, resolve this issue and make sure that this new tenant understands that you're over the line. Is that something you guys would do?
Absolutely. So that is a complaint, for example, that would go to our building safety engineering department. They would need to send an inspector out to make sure that's a legally erected fence. Of course, the property line comes into play. If it is a matter that has to go to court, then that's something where a survey should be done, right? Now, the city does not provide a survey. However, we will inform the resident or parties if the fence appears to be illegally erected or not.
Okay, okay. Now, is there any charge for using the ombudsman service at all?
No.
You know I had to ask that.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Okay, because people, you know, are concerned about how do they come about getting over to you to make sure that their questions are answered, or, you know, there's a case open on this particular issue that's really bothering. Now, when we see a program such as Channel 4 doing, you know, Help Me Hank, and somebody said, well, you know, this is illegal dumping, do most residents know that they can call the ombudsman or not?
They should. We
Okay.
do an extraordinary amount of outreach, and I can list all the ways in which you can reach us. We set up satellite office locations, meaning throughout every district in the city of Detroit, every council district. We go to coffee shops, we go to recreational centers, and set up office hours where you don't have to come downtown. You can come to that coffee shop or recreational center and see us there. We have virtual office hours every third Thursday of the month between 1 and 3. So you can hop on a Zoom if you're technologically savvy.
Okay.
We do good old-fashioned physical intake. You can come walk in the room 114 of the Coleman Alexander Young Municipal Center. The telephone works if you don't know how to do anything else. And some of our seniors even like to write us, good old snail mail, right? And we still go retrieve that mail and respond to that complaint that way. So there are so many different ways in which we can be accessed.
Okay.
And we never turned out attending a block club meeting, community meeting. We try to stay out in the community as much as possible.
Okay, okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so, you know, I got some more questions for you, but I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with some more questions for the City of Detroit Ombudsman. We'll be right back.
I try to keep up with what these young people is doing and knowing.
I was at work and I just got a text from a number that I didn't know.
I sent him a text. He texts me back and say, "Who dis?" And I just thought that was the funniest thing.
The next few weeks, she just made fun of me, like would answer the door and say, "Who dis?"
Who dis?
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
And welcome back to the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know I always tell you, get your pen and paper out. Why? Because you're going to write these numbers down. So at the bottom of the screen, you see our information, 1-800-323-5336, and you will see the Ombudsman's information. So if you have a question or concern, we do encourage you to contact the office and ask these questions, okay? So these lovely people will answer the phone and try to direct to whatever it is questions you have and take care of that matter. So I want our viewers to know that you guys are friendly, okay?
Yeah.
Business friendly. Some people say, oh, I don't know if I should call, I don't know what I should do, but no question is a dumb question.
No question is a dumb question. We are here to help. Your taxpayer dollars fund what we do. We're here to serve you. It's truly a job of service, and we enjoy doing it. A lot of people struggle in life trying to figure out their calling. I know whatever I'm doing is something that has to allow me to help people. So literally, I wake up knowing that I'm able to help. My job is not political. I don't care where you live in the city, what district. It doesn't matter if you're a business owner or resident. It doesn't matter. As long as you have an interest in the city of Detroit and you need help, we're here to help you.
Great, great. Because we want to bring up some of your contact information for those who are, you know, trying to write it down and put it up and everything. So we're going to bring up some of those flyers in a second. But let me say this. So, Ms. Bernard, as you go out in the field and in the community and everything, what are some of the concerns that you mainly hear about?
So I hear a lot about dogs roaming around, a lot of walkers, older people walking, they're upset because there's a lot of stray dogs, a lot of flooded streets, and it also depends on the type of the weather we have. Sometimes when it's cold outside, we'll get a lot of snow complaints. In the spring, we'll get flooded streets. So it depends on the season.
Okay. Okay, because just like when you say flooded streets, you're calling the City of Detroit Water Department and you're asking them to come out and, do something to the drain. They never come.
Right.
Is that considered a complaint?
Absolutely.
That is a complaint, and we can resolve that complaint. And another thing we're very proud of, we have a very compassionate, knowledgeable staff. So when you come in or if you call, everyone answers the phone, and we're very compassionate.
Okay, all right. Because like a person like myself will put something on file. If I call you today, I wrote down the date and time.
Oh,
wrote
yeah.
down who I spoke to. If
Yeah.
I had to call again,
You get a complaint number.
Okay.
So that's a good thing.
okay, okay. Anything unique for our special needs accommodations for persons with disabilities or seniors?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, we talked a little bit earlier about your background, and I'm very proud of this particular recommendation. Every year we make formal recommendations, and it can happen at any point throughout the year, but typically it's during budget season. And so a couple years ago, we made a recommendation dealing with our disabled veterans. So for those who are watching that may not know, disabled veterans are 100% property tax exempt as long as that disability designation is 100%. And so they are not obligated to pay property taxes. However, what we found was that we were forcing these people to come every year annually to file. And that didn't make sense because the disabled veteran is not going to stop being disabled. They're not going to stop being a veteran. So why are we inconveniencing them and making them come every year? I'm happy to announce that Governor Whitner has signed into law our recommendation. So now those disabled vets who are 100% disabled, they can apply for their exemption once and be done with it. And that's all based on an ombudsman recommendation. And there's more to it. I encourage people to look up the information associated with it, but there are a number of changes.
That's great.
And it's the law of the land for all 10 million Michigan residents now.
That's great. That's great. I mean, my hat's off to you guys because that's wonderful. Our veterans have served their country, and every opportunity that they can get to have a break and free services or additional services to aid them on is a wonderful thing. So now I do have on the screen here some information about the Office of the Ombudsman, here to serve and uphold standards Detroiters deserves. So mainly you have a QR code, so those who are phone savvy, they can use the QR code.
Absolutely.
Okay, and it says, do you know the City of Detroit Ombudsman represents all 139 square miles of Detroit? Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yep.
All right, all right. So basically now, you have, and we're posting these up so our viewers can see that they have some concerns. The Office of Ombudsman investigation research discovers the following, and it gives a list of everything that you guys do.
Right, so what you see on the screen is identifying some of our latest recommendations, right? That's dealing with the demolition process and deferral. So over the last decade, we've demolished a lot of structures. Well, what about the ones that need to be preserved? What does that process look like? If we are heavy on the demo, but there's a property that needs to be saved, Detroit has some of the most beautiful housing stock in the nation.
Oh, yeah.
And there are a number of houses that don't require demolition. But if the process is flawed, then we need to address that. And that's what we did here with that particular recommendation. And I spoke about our veterans earlier. We think that they should have a department. They should be represented on a local level. When you think about it, on the federal level, they have representation, state, county. But when you get to the city, that's not necessarily the case.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. All right. And then now, at the top of the list here, it says subsidized housing lead inspection. There is a lot of property in Michigan, period, that, housing needs to have inspection about lead poisoning. So what do you guys do with that?
So our deputy ombudsman here, she worked a case in which a 4-year-old boy was exposed to lead, which inspired this particular recommendation. So what we found in our research is that subsidized housing, whether it's subsidized through HUD or MISTA, wherever the case may be, we as a municipality aren't obligated to inspect, and so we don't. And in layman's terms, all that language up there, really what that means is that we simply consult the governing body, whether it be HUD or MISTA, and say, hey, is it okay? And they say, yeah, it's okay. And we say, okay, it passed their inspection, so it must be okay. We said, we don't think that's appropriate. We've worked very, very hard in the city of Detroit to make sure that our kids aren't exposed to lead. Credit to the administration for doing that, but we have to follow through and not lean on or rely on these other governmental agencies and take their word for it. We want to be sure, so we're calling on our inspectors to inspect.
That's great. That's great. Wow. Okay. I'm sure a lot of parents appreciate that. So 24-hour business requirements, what is that all about?
Gail, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, so we found out in our research that a lot of problems happen after 2 a.m. at businesses like, I'm not going to target any business, but maybe a Coney Island or a bar or something like that that's open after 2. So we feel like it is not fair that citizens have to go to these businesses and be unprotected. So if you're open after a certain time, we feel like they should bear the responsibility of protecting our citizens. So that is one recommendation.
Okay. Okay. That's understandable. Okay. All right. So, you know, a lot of people don't know these things, and I'm so glad you guys came to join us today to tell us this kind of information, because people are just saying, you know, I just take care of this myself, or forget it, you know, it's over. But certain things should be addressed through the government procedures.
Don't get frustrated. City of Detroit bureaucracy is hard to navigate, especially post-pandemic. A lot of those numbers that you may have called before, there may not be a person at that desk. They may be working from home or whatever the case may be. We come in every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. If you leave a voicemail, we will respond. If you leave an email, we're going to respond to you after hours. We're available to help.
Okay. Okay. Well, I tell you what, before we, you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't get the information now, you'll get it when we come back. We'll be right back.
Sorry about that. No, I've been staying at my dad's place because of everything.
Here you go. It's your favorite. It's chicken noodle.
He's good.
Oh, wait, Dad. Wait, hang on.
Yeah, I know, we keep missing each other. I've been working out of my dad's house, doing some reading. I should be working out more. I know it's important to stay healthy. It's just, I don't have the time. I just feel like I'm drowning.
Your turn.
In tough times like this, we know it can be easy to neglect your own health and well-being.
Dad, it's the girls. Oh.
What kind of dance is that?
But while you care for your loved one, you also need to care for yourself.
You look good.
Go to aarp.org/caregiving for free mental health and self-help tips.
If you store your guns properly,
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
And I won't have to tell my kids, this isn't a drill.
Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Always lock it up.
And welcome back to the last half of the show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am enjoying the Ombudsman himself, the Executive Director, and the Deputy Director. So I just want you all to know that when you see our guests on the show, if you have questions for them, don't be afraid to ask. You can give us a call or use their information as you see at the bottom of the screen, and their information will be in our credit roll. Without a doubt, you have some concerns, citizens of Detroit and beyond, so we want you to utilize your Ombudsman and definitely let them know. I saw you on Just Ask. Okay. So now let me get back to some of this good, juicy information here. So what is it that you think some of the citizens, or what do you think the citizens of Detroit should do? You know, if they're confused, how should they, are they in position to help with the Ombudsman in any way?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, if you have an issue, we try to tell all of our constituents that we need you to provide detailed information. The more details you provide us, the easier it is for us to help you, right? Okay. If you have a block club or a community group, as Gail mentioned earlier, we want to talk to them so we can educate them. Perfect example, things are always changing in city government. So we have 2 different vendors for each side of the city as far as trash removal is concerned. One of those vendors is new, completely new, has never serviced the city before. Later this month, we will be doing an educational forum with that particular vendor so that the public is aware of how they operate and what they can do to take preventative measures to not run into some of the issues that you otherwise would.
Okay, okay. So your service is not just homeowners, it's homeowners, businesses, and
everyone. If you have a question pertaining to the city of Detroit, if you are a business owner, a resident, you can be an employee. That's another thing. We deal with internal and external issues as well. So when I say internal, if there's an issue within the department, believe it or not, that affects that department's ability to function properly. So if there are issues that need to be resolved, that's gonna affect the taxpayer, and we resolve those as well.
Wow, okay.
And when you call, we do not ask for your information. You can call and report a pothole. You can report anything. So we do not ask for your information at all. And another thing I want to say that's very important, a lot of block clubs, we work with a lot of block clubs where weekly they may call and give us a long list. They walk the neighborhoods. So we have cleaned up. We're really proud to see like our before and after pictures where we have really cleaned up neighborhoods.
Okay, okay. Got to see some of that. So I know you have a chat. Here was a chat with me.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit about that.
So that's basically us saying to the public, come chat with us, invite us out to chat. As Gail has been talking about the block clubs and community organizations, they make things easier for us as city officials and as the Ombudsman's office in terms of being able to communicate effectively with the general public. Nobody knows their people like the residents, right? You know Gladys from down the street better than anybody because she's been your neighbor for 30 years. And you can communicate to her how effective the Ombudsman is. And so we lean on those folks. And so when I say, let's chat Detroit, I'm saying, here's all of my information. Please contact us. I'll talk to a group of 5 or a group of 500. It does not matter.
Okay, that's great. That's great because a lot of people need to know more about you guys, and I'm so glad that we have the information up on our screen as well as you're clarifying some of the concerns that our citizens do have. So we have your phone number, the QR code, the email address. I mean, come on, you can't miss the opportunity to reach out to you and let you know what's going on. Is there anything that ties in our young generation, our young homeowners, or a lot of people do things, and I see because you guys have went to some schools and stuff like that. So I know you can fill us in on that, Deputy Bernard.
So Mr. Simpson, he does visit a lot of schools. Now this school right here, this was the first day of school, and this was in District 1, and it was mostly men there. They wanted to show a lot of the kids that, look, we care, we're rooting. So every time they walked in, the whole entire school, we high-fived them. And it was really exciting.
That's
it
great.
really was. And Mr. Simpson, like I said, he does visit a lot of schools. We have a lot of fun visiting schools.
Yeah, now I had the opportunity to be here at the Butzel Center.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
my introduction to you, Mr. Simpson. So the Butzel Center, that was the Healthy Home House Fair or something like that. And it was a great turnout.
Absolutely. Mr. Donwell, Chair of the Board of Review, brought together a lot of resources for our residents. And so the concept, Healthy Homes, being a comprehensive one where you don't just tackle one issue, you try and tackle them all. So there were representatives from our office, Land Bank, Water Department, Health Department, Wayne County Treasurer, right? That's government at its finest. And I just want to piggyback on what Gail was saying earlier about the youth. We got to give a shout out to Councilmember Tate in District 1. That's his initiative where we line up as men and others to show the students that people care about them, right? And that we're happy to see them at school and that they're gonna have a good experience at school. In addition to that, we read. We go during National Reading Month in March and we read to as many schools as possible.
Wonderful.
Just to let them know so they could see, touch, feel us and have that experience. And not necessarily always have to see a governmental official behind the lens of a camera or a desk.
Don't fear. Yep, no fear. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Now, I see you're in action there, Deputy. So what's going on?
This was a realtors meeting, and they were airing their concerns about what was going on in the neighborhood. So, like Mr. Simpson said, we help everyone. So we were able to be assistants to these realtors to help them with their areas and what needed to be cleaned up to help them sell homes and beautify the area.
Okay. Well, great. Okay, and we know that you are always warm and welcoming the citizens and residents of Detroit. So we like to see those kind of photos where people look like, hey, I got my business accomplished that day.
Right.
Right.
Great. So, you know what, let me ask you this. Now, before we wrap up, is there anything that you like to tell our citizens that they should be doing, could be doing, or what you need help in or anything?
Yeah. Primarily call 313-224-6000. That's our telephone number. We want you to engage us, even if it's for a question. We're going to answer that question. We always encourage you to reach out to us no matter what. I think that's the most important thing. We keep several initiatives going. We even have a door-to-door initiative. So the Ombudsman, as a function for the city of Detroit, has been present for 50 years, and I believe we are the first office to go door to door to let our residents know what we're doing. So we just want you to take advantage of the resource.
Okay. And Deputy?
And I don't care how minor you might think the situation is. We get a lot of people calling and saying, I don't want to bother you. Well, you're not bothering us. This is our job. And a lot of people say they don't take their job home, but we do. We take our job home. We ride down the street, and when we see things that are wrong, we're, calling each other. So I don't care how minor you think it is, because those minor things escalate. Just give us a call.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell people, you know what, I don't know if you can see this, but if you didn't get it off the screen, you can get it off my hand. So I just want to thank you both for coming to see us. Will you come back and join us again?
Of course.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to it, okay?
Yeah.
And don't think I don't have a question or two. All right. Well, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. And ladies and gentlemen, please, by all means, whenever you see Just Ask, always know that we got some resources for you that are very noteworthy for you, your friends, your family, your neighbors, somebody. So why not utilize them? So we thank the Ombudsman for coming today. And I said the Ombudsman, like Donnie and Marie. But okay, we said so thank you both. Okay, so we'll have them come back again. Check in the credit roll. You'll see their information. So if you need to call them or send them an email or QR code, whatever which way you want to contact them. I'm your host, Marsha Florence from Just Ask. And what do I always say? If you have a question about a person with a disability or just a general question, don't be afraid to ask Just Ask. I'm your host. Thank you.